Okay, shooters, today is day 3 for how to become a better shooter. Day 3 we're going to draw from a holster, and we are also going to do reloads. So not unload, load and unload. We've already do those. We're going to draw from a holster. We're going to do reloads. So first up is drawing from a holster. And there's no one way to draw from a holster. There's a bunch of different ways. I'll show you how I do it. And then you can, look at other YouTube videos elsewhere and see different ways. I'll show you why I do it the way I do it, and then as always, it's up for you to decide exactly what's going to work best for you. As you notice when I'm standing here, if I just put my hands here in front of my chest, this is how I am. My hands naturally come here, and this is where I want my hand, particularly my left hand, to come, because this is where the gun is going to meet my left hand. So what you're going to do is, you're going to have your gun in a holster, and we've already done our safety check, and so we know that we've got no rounds in the chamber, and I've got an empty magazine in there. Empty mag, no rounds in the chamber. That's part of our load unload sequence. So I'm good to go there. But with the draw, what I want to do is no matter how my hands are before I draw, whether it's a beep or whether I hear a gunshot or whatever, the first thing that happens is my hands and arm move at the same time. My hand comes right here to notice this area here. This is where everything meets together. Come here. This is just the way my body naturally works. Grab the handgun, come up, and hands meet hand right there. And I'm already in my firing grip. And notice that I don't have the gun pointed at the ground. I don't have the gun pointed at the sky. I've got the gun pointed straight out. So if I have to take a shot from here, I can. It would have to be extremely close quarters for me to take a shot from here, because this is not going to be a very accurate shot. But let's try that again. Doing whatever with my hands, the hands in the pockets, back, standing. But I hear a gunshot, or I hear the beep. Hands come right here. Hands, draw, they meet right here in the center of my body, and then I just bring it straight up. Okay. Some guys bring it up here and then extend it out along their line of sight. I don't do that for my purposes and for my needs. Right here, I can shoot from right here. I can shoot anywhere from right here, but my most accurate shot's going to be right there. But the way my mind and brain works, the fastest way to get from point A to point B is a straight line. This is point A. I want to get to point B, so I take it along that straight line. I don't come up and then out. But that works for some people. I'm not bashing it. That's just not the way I do it. So the draw. Grab the handgun. The hand comes here. The two meet. Come straight out. What I want you to do is practice this really slow, and what I'll show you really slow. Really slow is this is position number 1. Position number 1. Position number 2 is hands meet hand. Now, one thing you got to be careful to do is when you're drawing, you don't want to do this. Okay, you don't want to take your loaded handgun and sweep it across your hand like that. So come up. Notice this is where they meet. Okay. The muzzle doesn't cross my hand. Okay, that's the only thing you got to be aware of, and I'll do this sideways here. 1, 2, 3, and 4 is press the trigger. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And I don't care if you look to reholster. There's no, I don't see any reason whatsoever to practice reholstering without looking. If you have to look to reholster, look to reholster. Because when you're going to reholster, there's no more shooting going on. So it's not like you have to be the fastest guy to put it in the holster. We're never going to do reholstering blindfolded. Okay, we'll draw blindfolded just so we get the motions down. But I don't care if you look when you reholster. Now we'll do this side here. Okay, hands doing whatever, you know. 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Notice I'm coming back to 2 also. Okay, this is position number 2. Shooting, resting. I can go to Sewell, you know, or whatever from there, or you know, I can drop down to a safer, you know, pointed down at the ground kind of deal. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's the draw, and that's how I do the draw. Practice how you want to do the draw. But what I want you to do is practice 100 draws with your handgun. 100 draws. Go slow. It doesn't hurt to do it in front of a mirror, so you can watch your body motions. 1, 2, 3. Pretty simple. 1, 2, 3. Go slow. The most important thing is go slow so that you learn the motions. 1, 2, 3. Do 100 of those. Okay, so changing magazines, reloads from slide lock. You can see a slide lock, empty mag. Stick an empty mag in, pull the slide back, you got a slide lock. You may not always know that you're at slide lock when you're actually shooting, because if you're looking at your front sight, looking at your sights, you may or may not see that the slide is locked back. But you'll see it when you bring it back to do, you know, the first thing we do when we get a click with no bang, the first thing we do is bring it back, and you'll see that it's locked back. So what you want to do is get rid of the empty mag, and you do that by just, I got to shift my hand. You see that little shift there that I got to do? My thumbs aren't long enough to hit the mag release. You shift your hand and you dump the mag out. At the same time, you're going for a fresh mag. See how I have my finger along there? Hand finds hand, attack the mag, attack the slide, you're back in business. Okay, so that's an emergency reload or a speed reload or a reload under duress, under stress. There's 2 ways to drop the slide after you stick the mag in. You can do it exactly the way we load, which is a good way to do it. Keep it all the same, keep it simple. But what if your hand is injured? So you have to practice the other way, which is hit the slide lock lever right here, the slide release, with your thumb or some object, or you can hook it onto your belt or something and pull it back a little ways and let it go. But you have to practice some way of doing it one-handed, just in case your other hand's not available. So let's go over that again. You're at slide lock. You come back, because you may not know you're at slide lock. You bring it back here. You're getting ready to attack the mag and attack the slide because you had a dead trigger or something, but you realize the slide's locked back. So you dump the mag out. You grab a fresh mag out of a magazine pouch. You attack the mag. You attack the slide. You're back in business. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to practice 10 of those. Reload from slide lock. Go slow. And do it by the numbers. Go slow. Learn the correct way to do it. And then we'll do the other type of magazine change. Okay, shooters, now we're going to talk about what most of the world calls the tactical reload. This is a reload that you will do after the firefight's over and you want to continue on doing whatever you're going to do with a full magazine. Or let's say you're doing some room clearing, you have to shoot a bad guy or two, you get in a small firefight in a room before you go on to the next room, and you're not empty, and you have no idea how many rounds you have in your magazine. Before you continue on, you want to be sure and top off. There's 2 ways to do it, to top off the firearm. For one, before you even start changing out the mags, make sure you got one in the chamber, just in case a guy pops his head in the door. You're still good to go. Slides do not always lock back. They usually do, but they do not always. So you want to make sure that you got a round in the chamber there. And then there's 2 ways to change the magazine. One is to take the empty and get rid of it and then bring the full one up and stick it in, and then you're good to go. The other way is to bring the full magazine up to the handgun, put the partial in between the finger there, get the full one in, and then put it away. Here's the rationale behind both methods. If you're just going to take the magazine, if you take this one out first and put it away, and then grab this one and bring it up and slam it in, the gun's going to be unloaded for the longest, but you have less movement and less chance of error. This other way, where you bring the magazine up here, there's a chance that you're going to fumble one of those mags when you're doing that, and then drop it, or maybe both of them, and that would be bad. The benefit to this method is your gun is unloaded the least amount of time. It's just a quick mag change there. Okay, and you can practice doing that. There's, you know, I practice both ways. Both bringing the empty, taking the empty down and bring the full one back up, and I also practice bringing the one to the gun and getting going that way. I would like you to practice both at first until you decide. One way is good. You don't have to do both ways like I do, but just choose one. As you notice, there's pros and cons to each of them. There's no dead right answer. You'll be the one to decide what's the right answer for you. So remember, you either take you take this one down and come back with a full one, or you bring the full one up and then take the other one back. So try those out, see which one you like better. Okay, shooters, day 3 with the AR carbine, M4, AR, whatever. When you're shooting the AR, you'll know when you come to slide lock. You'll feel the difference. If you don't, you need to shoot your AR some more. It doesn't take long at all to figure out when you come to an empty magazine on an AR. There's some places that teach where you do this look thing. We don't teach that look thing. It looks really cool. It looks really cool, especially when you come around, you know, and you spin it and you flip the mag out. It looks way cool. But here's where it fails in the real world. You've got to have really strong sunlight coming down this way to see into the chamber. And you don't always have sunlight coming in that. In fact, here in my YouTube studio, I actually have to, there, now I can see into the chamber because the light's behind me now. So all that does is waste time. You'll only be able to use it under the absolute best of circumstances, but we want to train for the worst of circumstances, which is going to be nighttime, or you're going to in a dark building or whatever. So doing this just totally wastes time. So we come up, we know, we can feel that we have slide lock, the bolt's locked to the rear. So the thing we're going to do is we're going to come here, we're going to grab the mag, and we're going to tear it out. Okay, this is why we tear it out. Look at that. Okay, I take, these are old mags, they don't work very well, so they're in my training rotation. This is why I train with them this way, so that if this happens in a gunfight and I go to press this and the mag comes out just a little ways, I don't, okay, I've trained for it. It's no big deal. Come up, hit it. I either put it in my dump pouch or let it hit the ground. No big deal. I grab a fresh one, I stuff it in, I hit the bolt release, and I'm ready to rock. I'm back in the gunfight. Okay, so speed reload. We're at slide lock. You know you're at slide lock. You grab the mag, you either drop it on the ground, you grab another fresh one, you put it in, hit the bolt release, and you're good to go. Speed reload. Okay. Now tactical load, or a load when you're not under duress, when you may have a minute or two. For this, same basic action as before. You take this magazine and you put it in your dump pouch. You don't put it back in your magazine pouch because you don't know how many rounds are in it. You bring a fresh one, you stick it in, and you work the bolt. Okay, that way you know you got one in the chamber. Yeah, you might have kicked a live one out on the ground. That's not that big a deal. Now you know you're good to go. So for the not under duress, for the tactical load, you take the mag out, stick it in your dump pouch, grab a good one, stuff him in, work the bolt, and now you're good to go. You're ready for action. Okay. Practice these 20 times each. 20 times on the speed load, 20 times on the tactical load with the M4 carbine. Eyes open. It's okay to watch what you're doing now. Later on we'll do the blindfold and all that other stuff. But just for now, to get down the motions, remember, rip the old magazine out, stuff the new magazine in, hit the bolt release, or work the charging handle. Shooters, day 3 with the AK. Get back in business. Okay, with the AK, we're going to do the same thing. Speed loads, tactical load, another speed load, under duress, tactical load, you have some time. Now, there are schools that when you're doing the reload with the AK, is that you grab the old magazine, you take the old magazine and you hit the magazine release to knock this magazine out of the way. We don't do that. Seen way too many flub it and miss this thing, and then they're taking 5 or 6 hits trying to find the mag release. The reason that doesn't work so well is you can't literally feel the mag release with this mag. This mag doesn't have any, it has no touch receptors on here. You can't feel when you're hitting the right spot. Your fingers or your thumb can. So one of the ways to do the speed reload is to just take your thumb. Okay, you got your thumb here. Just get it out of the way with your thumb. Okay, let's do that again. You come up with the fresh mag. You come up, whoops, let me try it like this because you'll see it better. You come up with the fresh mag and you hit it with your thumb. Then you're right there to put the fresh mag in, crank the charging handle, and you're good to go. Okay. Or another way to do that speed reload, let me get this back in my pouch, is you come up, you have a dead trigger, you tried it, you're good to go, you know you got a dead trigger, take the mag out and either drop it or put it in your mag pouch and grab this one, stick it in, work the charging handle, and you're good to go. Okay. So there's 2 ways to do that speed load. One is to take your magazine, come up, use your thumb, hit the old mag out, put the new mag in, rack the charging handle, and go to work. Okay, the other way is, because your hands got to go back here anyway. There's nothing that says you can't take this with it and dump it in your pouch and grab it, stick him in. Whoops, selector wouldn't be on, and you're good to go. Okay, so that's the speed load or the load under duress with the AK. And then we also have the lull in the action reload. We fired off some rounds. We don't know how many. We want to top the rifle off, make sure we're good to go. One thing you may want to do is do a chamber check. That means the selector's on. Do a chamber check. Yeah, I got one in. Really don't, but just for the purposes. Got one in. Take this mag out. Put it in your dump pouch. You don't know how many rounds are left in it. You'll sort that out later. Put the new one in. You're good to go. If you didn't chamber check, then take the selector off and crank it. Then you know you're good to go. Okay. So practice 20 of those. 20 under duress. 20, when you have some time for the AK. That concludes day 3. Appreciate you watching. Thank you. Appreciate the likes, the subscribes, the shares. If you got any questions about day 3, by all means, ask them below. I'll do my best to answer them, or you can ask me on my Facebook or my blog site or whatever. Anyhow, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.